Rise and shine your light in opulence, solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word, message, spot of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. So today I'm kind of, what can I say, coming from a more calmer space and still reflecting on like boss, employee dynamics. And with that, I want to focus on the idea of accountability. A lot of times what I notice from working from every type of business, small businesses, small black owned, small businesses that's not black owned, corporate, what have you. I've noticed that companies never want to take accountability. When something goes wrong, just be prepared for a scapegoat. When you're a revolutionary or a person who can easily cause a uprising or a revolt or the need for a union or something like that, be prepared to be the person that's targeted. You're going to be the person that's made the example of, and they're going to start weeding out everybody who is not blinded who is not asleep to the system and how it's not designed to serve you. So whether they're conscious of that or not, I really be feeling like bosses just have learned how to manipulate people, because in the sense to have workers, a lot of times that's just natural. There's this dominance, there's this manipulation, and for me, I'm focusing on this a lot because as I am a CEO, but as I get to a place in my life where I may have employees, I don't want to be that. And I know a lot of times in life we always say what we don't want to be, end up kind of being it because it's harder than what we think, and we don't know the reality of it because we're not in those shoes. But it still does not take away from the fact that we're trying to be better than what we've experienced, and we're trying to stay more aware and of ourselves and how we treat others, and being aware of other people as well, and see them as the God version of who they are, children of God, and that they deserve a level of compassion, empathy, and respect. And just so, yeah, it's like, and this is one of the tactics I feel like is the stupidest thing. I don't know if anybody's been in a job where it's like you feel like you sense they're cleaning out of staff, and they just kind of started getting rid of all the people with seniority, all the people who just kind of seem like they difficult or just not easy to just like, yes man, you know what I'm saying? So it's always amazes me how the corporate or management doesn't fire the admin side, but they fire all the regular people who have been tainted by the toxicity there from the admin side. It's like, lead from example. It is a trickling down effect, and you're getting rid of the bottom, and so you're like, it's almost like not getting rid of the bad seed, but expecting the apples to just so you like, say it's like a bucket of apples. You pull one bad apple out, but there's still two more there. And you, in your mind, rationalizing, this is not going to mess up the other. Nigga, if one mess it up, all of them are going to mess it up. You need to get rid of all the bad seeds if you want to cleanse out something. But to me, I'm totally opposed to the whole idea of just getting rid of people. I'm more about, can we actually talk about solutions? Can we actually get on the same page? Can we actually figure out what's the problem here in this team? What's going on? What do I need as a boss to fix or take accountability for? And how have I let you guys down? How have I lacked as an executive in leading this company? How have you felt, what's the word I'm looking for, like a lack of resources or a lack of assistance or lack of support that has led this company to have this type of energy circulating amongst y'all? Like, what has killed the morale here? What has killed the work ethic here? Let me look at that, because at the end of the day, those are the big problems, that things are going to continue to repeat themselves until you realize your accountability, or you just say, well, I'm going to just keep getting people who are dumber and dumber or stupid or who just care more about the money than what they doing, or who can't see that they being overworked, or that there's this level of favoritism, or who can't see that this is happening, or who don't really care that this is happening. And those are not the people who never have something to say. Those are the worst people to have employed. You want, because of the people with integrity, The people with work ethic, the people with work morale, those are the people who you want servicing your company, because they are what make your company thrive and look good. They're what build credibility. They're what's giving a level of efficiency and effectiveness. And especially if you think of an idea of like teaching, like, why would you want some sorry ass people as teachers? No, ask yourself that. Like, why? Like, from a business perspective, even like an investment perspective, I know one day if I ever, like, not ever, when I become rich, I will never invest I'm never going to be like one of those silent partners or silent investors. No, if my name is on something, it's going to have the level of integrity that I want. It's going to have support. It's going to have, love. It's going to have that support that we all need as workers and clients. It's not just one or the other. It's not just, I only care about my customers. Screw the workers. The actual people who are keeping this business going. Oh, screw this or screw that. Let's please just this person or that person. But yeah, I'm just ranting and raving because I do have a lot of rage and frustration with work environments and how the dynamic is. And, a lot of times, this is a veering off the subject a bit, but it goes within the sense, like, a lot of times when you're becoming more aware of things, and despite how hard it is to stay in that energy because of stressors, because of different life factors, poverty, abuse, whatever that kind of keeps you at a low state because of stuff like that, I know it can be hard to just stay in the energy of seeing stuff from a more positive perspective or just an overstanding. But there is so much that still needs to be done. And even though I go through my struggles daily and I'm in the trenches, like I'm in real life, literally far from rich, literally just living my life, but I still have the capacity because I keep my heart open to see what things should be. From a practical, realistic standpoint, like I said, I don't buy into everything that people are trying to like sell in the whole spirituality and woke agenda or woke culture. But for me, I've established my own set of beliefs and lifestyle and whatever. But I have a whole nother little video I'm gonna do. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram probably later. But I want to talk about also like a lot of times when we like are awakening and just understanding who we are and reestablishing a set of beliefs that empower, uplift, and motivate us as individuals, especially if you become an influencer versus a healer. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of are, it's kind of to me selfish in a sense, because you're really using people who have no sense of self to gain a level of following that is lucrative to you. That's the influencer mindset to me, versus the actual healer continues to try their best to give autonomy and give sovereignty and give people the freedom of perspective while also highlighting their own biases that they may have. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I have Christian roots, I have Christian backgrounds, but I also have a lot of the, quote unquote, typical practices and spirituality too. Like, I don't necessarily, I like aromatherapy. I like yoga or like meditation, like aspects of those practices. And I do feel like they're great for relieving stress and putting your body in a state of peace and calm and safety that can transform you and create healing. Like, I do feel like that. But a lot of times I feel like the way it's worded and the symbolism and whatever other beliefs that are attached to it can confuse a person who has no sense of that lifestyle or those practices. But yeah, it's just so much to it. And I was also going to say, like, as you're awakening and you are being more authentic with yourself and being aware of the things that make you feel comfortable and natural and just free, that is when you attract the tribe that really resonates with you. But it's not to say that, it's going to be a cookie cutter thing where everybody has the exact same beliefs. No, because that's what's the issue. Because we keep thinking, they're my tribe, so they really gonna believe everything. And to me, I feel like that's why we're not building loyalty. Because it's like people feel like, oh, if you have one disagreement in your beliefs than mine, we can't be cool. And I feel like what we need to practice is learning. I say this a lot and stress it a lot. It's about building harmony in diversity and respecting other people's beliefs as long as they don't impact us or they're trying to convert us or they're trying to, disrespect on how my belief system, the things that sustain me or call me out and, make me feel less than or sleep or whatever you want to say, unworthy or ignorant because of I believe something that they don't. Whatever is empowering me or sustaining my sanity, let me do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, there are moments, there's exceptions to everything. That's why everything has to be taken by a grain of salt. And yeah, you can dissect and decode everything I say because I do that too sometimes. But it's like you have to realize and understand that you're never going to understand totally where I'm coming from. But we're all sharing our individual journeys. And that's why you don't want to consume everything you see. Even from a healer's perspective, you may not want to consume every message I put out because that's why I always say I don't know who is this for, but because even if you're a follower of mine, it doesn't mean every message is for you. It doesn't mean every message is for me. You get what I'm saying? So I may say something that I don't necessarily technically agree with for me, but somebody needed to hear it. That's why it came on my heart. And so these are just some things. Yeah, I know I just kind of veered away from the topic, but it all intertwines. But yeah, it's just so much in this world that's going on that really is affecting the mind. And because there's so much perspective out there and it's hard to stop because everybody doesn't understand how to filter and we're so addicted to the media like right now, like the social media and all this other stuff, that we're constantly shifting our mind. And that's why my thing now is more about protecting my mind and detaching from the collective mindset, because like right now I can already feel that a hysteria is coming on again. Like there may be a second fear of a second pandemic and all this other stuff. Like I'm detaching away from that because as y'all must not have seen from the first time, it did nothing. What? No, I ain't gonna say it did no good because I know how to pull something good out of it, period. But it did nothing good to you from being fearful. So, yeah, just be mindful. Just learn how to detach and recognize when your mind is sending you down this rabbit hole of fear and debilitation. And I have a post on that on my stories too about how elevation no longer becomes, how education no longer becomes elevation. But yada, yada, yada. But yeah, look up my highlights on psychic manipulation, on spirituality. I have a lot of wisdom in there. So just take what resonates and leave the rest. Hopefully whatever I say empowers you and gets you out of that stuck spiritual dependency and helps you recognize when you're being manipulated and whatever. But as always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out. I'm really starting to not like working with like a team, a staff, where I can actually see people's work ethic, because all it does is deplete my energy. Because I can see the favoritism and the imbalance and the lack of reciprocity, it makes it harder and harder to stay in my level of work ethic. Because I'm kind of like getting tired of like pulling weight and being considerate and doing extra stuff to take loads off of people, and then they don't do things to be considerate for me. Yeah, I know I say like don't do stuff with expectations, but at some point you get depleted, and that's when you start to have those expectations. Because when your cup is full, yeah, you don't mind sharing, but then when your cup is empty, then it's clear you're gonna be like, now I need to start looking for sources of water, Now I just start, I need something. I'm about to run out. I'm going to be thirsty. I'm going to be dehydrated, Another thing, it's like, it's unfair to associate a way of being or a way you see people, or just a way of being to a certain group of people. And I've said this before, but it's like, just assuming that black people are like lazy, shysty, grimy, all these like negative associations that are kind of like associated with black people. It's not really fair, because I've worked with all people. I've gone to school in all settings and environments with with multiple demographics, and what I'm learning more and more, getting out of my bubble of the black community, is that it's not a black thing. It's a poverty thing. It is a human thing. It is a struggle mentality, not a black mentality a lot of times, and it's not really fair. And what it does is when you walk around with that lens, your perception does impact your prejudices. That's why you can be like prejudiced against your own people, or not necessarily racist, of course, but prejudiced against your own people, because you're walking around with this lens of superiority, or just like assumptions of how people is, based on stereotypes, based on the programming that we have, and that can affect your mood, that can affect the dynamic that you have, that can affect you being able to actually make lasting or deep, long-lasting connections with people. When you go into a job and it's predominantly black, and you assume like, oh, here we go, we're finna deal with this, we're finna deal with that. You start making, you start filling your head with narratives based on past experiences, like, oh man, I don't work for black people before, I don't work for this small businesses before, I don't work for women before, and so, or I don't work for men, whatever. And so you start automatically creating these, because the mind likes to make connections, and it likes to be prepared. It doesn't like surprises and risk and all these things. So it's going to give you a blueprint, but that doesn't mean the blueprint is right, because it wants you to be prepared for danger. But in that preparation, like I always say, assuming is the devil, because a lot of times it can be wrong. Yeah, you may want to say like, nah, I know people, I know this, I know that. That may be true, but sometimes when you don't give people a benefit of the doubt, you risk and you miss out on great connections, And like I said, when you paint a picture, when you keep these narratives at the forefront of your mind, then you create your reality. And sometimes you just see it that way, and it gives an intensive energy when it's really not what you feel it is. But these are just a couple things I kind of wanted to get off my chest, like when it comes to working. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting on working, because I feel like that is a big part of my journey, and in embodying my worth, and establishing boundaries, and establishing my work ethic, my integrity, and my career, and what kind of environments I want to be in, and what I'm looking for when I, from a job, from this, from that, like just getting a very solidified but evolving way of thinking when it comes to what I want for my job. But yeah, that's all for now. As always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out. Rise and shine your light, and optional solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word and message, wisdom, vent session, whatever you want to call it. So today is a little bit different, because usually I try to come on here on my highest self, and I'm still in my highest self, but I got to vent and get some off my chest today. So I think I have a couple podcasts on like bosses and workplace environments, and like confessions from like just the work experience. And there's a lot of things that I feel like bosses, managers, people in power or whatever, I feel like there's a lot of things that they do to manipulate people, to gaslight people, to downgrade a person's personal struggles within the work environment, and kind of deflect. A lot of it is deflection from the BS of the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will never take accountability. They will never shed light on all the other bullshit that's happening, but they'll be quick to give you a write-up. And I kind of feel like, I may be wrong, but in all the jobs I've ever experienced, I notice I get write-ups when I'm feeling that need to lead. And I kind of feel like they feel that energy, like I'm sick of the bullshit, so they want to call me on like petty stuff. And it's like, they'll try to paint it like, oh, you know, I let you get away with it for a long. No, it's not that you was giving me grace. You wasn't getting on nobody. There was no discipline. There was no rules and regulations. Yeah, you may have a policy in place, but there is nobody even here to enforce it. There's nothing going on the right way, but you want to use me as the example, the one person who prides himself in doing a great job, who is always that nice guy finished last type of experience that I have. And it's like, I just get, these are the things that make people bitter and resentful and just pissed off, because it's like, all this stuff that's going on in this chaotic environment, and you want to call me because I'm 5 minutes late. I don't care if I'm 5 minutes late every day. Like, what do I do when I get here? And then say something about me staying here to almost 30 minutes after my shift every day. You won't, like, yeah, you acknowledge that, but it's not enough. Me acknowledging stuff is in vain if there's no real benefit from it, if there's no real action from it. Accountability is more than acknowledgement. Accountability is acknowledgement and action. And so acknowledging something is the same thing. Yeah, that's fine. You may notice that I'm here 30 minutes after, and you say, yeah, I know you here 30 minutes after, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, okay, so what do I get from that? Just the acknowledgement? Be mindful of that kind of stuff, because bosses be quick to try to stroke your ego and you're very smart, you're very this, and I know you stay late, and thank you for that. But it's like crumbs. It's like bare minimum. And it's almost, and then they'll downgrade your struggle and tell you what they're going through when they're making 6 figures every year. Like, it's just so much about the workplace that this is why I'm going so hard towards entrepreneurship, because I'm just getting fed up with watching people skate by, watching lazy people, undisciplined people get to skate by, and they never get any reprimanding. But then you pull me to the side publicly, like niggas don't know what I'm, oh, I need to talk to you. You got a paper in your hand, and you walking around this messy ass little hood establishment. But everybody around here late, taking 2-hour lunches, not even clocked out. Basically, that's stealing money to me. You ain't gonna never see me doing nothing that's out of integrity. Being late with bringing a 4-year-old to work every day, just a couple months ago. What is the other people's excuse? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, these are the things that like really drive me and like piss me off. I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to get that off my chest. But yeah, it's like, do y'all like ever feel this way at work and like just get fed up with the work environment and just like the bullshit? I swear, I feel like CEOs need training. Like, anybody who becomes a business owner needs to have some kind of like training certification before they can even open a business. And it needs to be some general thing that you have to take, webinar or whatever, that makes you be able to open a business and teaches you about, you work for your employees don't work for you. Because if they all left because of how you treated them and because of the favoritism or because of how you handled them or talked to them, then you wouldn't have a business. And just about fairness and like not putting other people on this pedestal or hierarchy, like, oh, because you're the administrative assistant, you get more leeway than just a teacher, or you get more leeway than the janitor because they're just a janitor, or you're just, you know what I mean? Like all this like type of favoritism stuff, and like, oh, I need them more, they're more valuable than this person, so I'm gonna let them slide, or all these reasons behind why other people get to slide. Oh, I don't want to even deal with them. I want to have confrontation with them. They little feisty, or they this or they that. They got too much attitude. I'm fighting with that. So let me take it out on the person who's sweet, the person who is not gonna pop off at the mouth with me. Let me hurt the one who's nice. Those types of things. Like, this is what makes good people turn dull and dark and just walk around with so much rage because they get taken advantage of. But as always, guys, I know that was a lot. That was a mouthful, but keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. I'll be open to receiving them. I know I am. I love you guys. Peace out. You know, another thing I hate is that Work environments are so messy. Other than like human nature, a lot of times they become messy because people take everything so personal. There's a lack of accountability. There's favoritism. So it's like people don't feel comfortable telling the person, hey, could you stop doing this? Because for one, you're probably not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And they don't feel comfortable creating that confrontation. When it shouldn't be like that. Like, if I need your help, I should be able to tell you, hey, do you think you can, like, work a little faster or help me, do this? Or, you see I'm struggling over here. Or people don't have that compassion. And, yeah, you're supposed to be able to communicate and express yourself without fear. But it's also like, dang, why do I have to tell you everything? And this is an issue that a lot of times women have and mothers have. And that's why they carry so much resentment, because they kind of just feel like, husband, boyfriend, if I saw you struggling, you wouldn't really have to tell me. There's a different level of compassion that's instilled within women that men don't really get, because it's not part of the conditioning of the male. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of times they don't know how to be nurturing or establish bonds or be sweet, because these things are labeled as feminine. And they're not. They're just human decency, And so it becomes messy because you need to vent about how this coworker never helps you in this situation, or they're just always, or they're so bad at this that it makes your job harder. And so you're mad and you're frustrated, and you go to this other person who, they may be good for you. They may be like, what's the word? They may be cool with you at that moment because they're not the part of the problem. But you got something to say about them too, because they be falling off in this aspect. So it just becomes this messy cycle of everybody clicking up and partnering up and gossiping about this and venting about that and gossiping about that, instead of everybody having this open discussion amongst the whole team to air out what everybody doesn't do. But guess what's going to happen? You're going to get in this big old circle, and you're going to be the only one talking about everybody else, and it's going to be like scapegoat. Let's point the finger out. Let's all hate her. Let's all channel our frustration about this establishment onto the one person who has the balls and the guts to actually speak up and be authentic about the issues that are really happening here, that people are trying to be fake about and not express when Big Boss comes around. Stop painting this front and facade. I can't stand personas. And that is why people don't like me, because it's like, I don't like to sugarcoat. I'm not trying to be who you want me to be. This is that's happening. We either need to do something about it, or like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we here? Are we here to help each other? Are we here to help the children? Are we here to help the establishment? What is the goal? What is the why? What is the mission? What is the purpose behind this business? Because if it's full of bullshit and there's no reason behind it, then it's not a job for me. I'm not a person who's content or comfortable in just busy work, mundane, just no purposeful like work. Like, oh, this is my paycheck, I'm just coming here, I don't really care about it. It ain't got no fuel behind it. It don't fuel me, it don't move me. If there's no purpose behind it, if there's no efficiency or no results coming out of this establishment, I don't want a part of it. And if it's and unless it's just financial stability, unless it's just a paycheck, but that's how I'm gonna perceive it. It's just a paycheck, nothing more. Unless it has purpose, like my saying goes, until it's fulfilling, it's temporary. And it cannot be fulfilling to me if there's no team effort to bring this mission or purpose to fruition. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I just believe that it should be like an open, compassionate conversation where everybody's not pointing the finger at somebody else. Everybody kind of point out what they do, what their flaws are. Matter of fact, give everybody the opportunity to take accountability. Like, everybody just go around a circle and say what they need to work on. Like, yeah, man, y'all know. I know I really haven't really been helping. I'm just going through some mental stuff. Like, let people have compassion for your circumstance. Yeah, I know I'm late every morning, but it's hard for me to get my child ready. You know, I'm transitioning from not working over a year and a half. Like, I really don't like to feel rushed in the morning. I like to take my time. I don't like to feel this or that. Like, just start expressing it. It don't mean that you're no longer going to be held accountable for being on time or no longer being held accountable for not helping people. But at least people will have that understanding, and we can see about solution-oriented goals and, like, how can we help you be better, you know? And not just pinpointing one person because you only want to pinpoint this other person because they're going to just probably straight up quit. Or they going to go off on you. Or they going to this. Or they that. So let me just take it out on the person who ain't going to do nothing. Just going to take the beating and just be quiet. You know, I was debating whether I was going to post these because I don't like to come in with this kind of energy. But it's something that needs to be reflecting on. And anybody who's working a job and like they just don't see. And just be mindful when you start airing out of companies' bullshit and where they fall off, be prepared for them to start trying to nitpick at you and giving you write-ups for the little shit that you've been doing since you started working there. Like, I'm almost here a year and you mean to tell me I'm just not getting a write-up for something? Like, all the good stuff. I haven't gotten that one positive incentive, but you hit me with a write-up. This is the stuff why companies are struggling, why businesses went down during the pandemic, because it was actually putting companies at a point and position where they were begging people to work for them. Where now the shoe was on the other foot and they had to smell their own shit and how they treat employees because they thought they had so much power and control. Oh, but they realized when niggas get unemployment and they ain't working for y'all, now you see how your business gonna struggle without employment. If your employment can't work on technology 100% or robots or something, you are dependent on the people that work for you. These are people, humans with lives outside of this company. I understand that's your dream and your whatever, your bread. But for us, unless we feel a connection to it, unless we feel like we're getting something out of it that is remotely worthy, we're going to come to it with that mindset of we're just employees. This is just a paycheck. This is. And even if you pride yourself in your work ethic and you have integrity behind your work ethic, it's still only a certain amount of stuff that a person will want to put up with or deal with. When they're not feeling appreciated, when they're not feeling reinforced, when they're not feeling validated. All these things we deserve and we need. It shouldn't be the end. It shouldn't be the death for people to get their flowers. And it doesn't mean you're needy or this or that because you want validation. And it doesn't mean you're a complainer because you're speaking up for yourself. All these manipulative tactics that are used for people to feel emotionally boxed in and unsafe. But whew, child, things are gonna get easier. Keep God first, man. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out. I want to talk about the world and being in a freaking asylum and how it can affect the perfectionists and the overachievers and the people who really pride themselves in being this good person. Like, how it can affect the inner dialogue. For one, inner dialogue is basically direct messages to your soul, to your spirit, to your mind, to your heart. And the way you talk to yourself really does impact you and how you feel about yourself. And in so many aspects of yourself, you know, it affects your self-worth, esteem, your self-confidence, your self-love, all those things. But there's so much in this new age spirituality, you know, everyone's sharing their perspectives and how they feel about this and that out there, and their level of magnetism and how they can attract people makes them feel valid. But, you know, when we listen to them and they're constantly fueling us with stuff that makes us feel shame, guilt, you know, all these low emotions and keeping our vibration down. And all it does is fuel us with these negative self-talk, this poor inner dialogue. And when you think about, like, the new gentle parenting, like, that is making the people who are healing through their own processes, going through poverty, going through all these other stressors, like, beat themselves up. And I'm not talking abuse of just horrible parents. I'm talking about parents who just, you know, they do discipline their children some traditional ways and some new ways. Maybe still give their kids spankings every now and then. But it's like you fuel them with so much shame that now they're beating themselves up and they're thinking that they're not good enough and they're not good parents and this and that. All this stuff that is programming, all this programming that we have that is basically affecting a person's inner dialogue and self-worth and self-love and all those other things I just mentioned. So yeah, I just want y'all to just be mindful of that and just realize, like, you're not here to be perfect. You are human. You're going to make mistakes. And I don't care how gentle of a parent you are, how perfect of a parent you are. That does not mean your child's not going to grow up to commit crimes. Does not mean your child's going to grow up to not hate you at the end of it all. Not grow up to feel like you didn't do enough or this and that. It doesn't mean that. So what I say, the rule of thumb is try your best to do your best by your child and give them the things that they need the most, which is love, time, and nurturance. And so that's just the main thing. You got to like create rule of thumbs, you know what I'm saying? Because when you don't, then you start getting pulled in every direction. I also wanted to, speaking on stuff like that they can manipulate you in life. When you have a strong energy, you have to ask yourself, is your energy being used or respected? And 9 times out of 10, because of how this world is, how we are programmed as humans, it's going to be used. And not all the time intentionally, like consciously being used. Sometimes we're subconsciously taking advantage of people because we're lacking in some way. So we just lean on them more and not necessarily out of intentional malice, but it just happens to be like that. But this specifically, I want us to focus on the strong person, the strong friend, the strong teacher, the strong whatever, but specifically the strong teacher. I'm sorry that you get all the kids with educational and developmental deficiencies. I'm sorry that you get the kids with all the behavior issues, and that you have to spend the majority of your time managing your classroom and, getting order to try to teach any lesson, and you barely get to do what you are passionate about. I'm sorry that you have to go through that. But what I want you to know is that you're not mean. You're not a bad teacher. You are doing enough. You are worthy. And I'm sorry that you feel taken advantage of. I'm sorry that you feel used. I'm sorry that you feel that you don't feel validated enough, that you don't feel compensated enough. Just know this doesn't have to be the end. And you can move forward into a place that does recognize and respect your energy. But that's all I have to say on that right now. Truth seekers, hear me out. We will always prevail. You know why? Because people are always, whether consciously or subconsciously, seeking the truth. We all want enlightenment. We all want to know what's up. We all want to be put up on game. Like it's just a way of life. Think about it. Even on a level of just like love life, every dude want to know like what females try to do to get over them. Every female wants to know what every dude try to do to get over them. So the people who take it into their purpose to focus and study and understand like relationships, they are very popular because people want to know the secret. People want the juice. Everybody wants the tea. And that's basically what I do. I constantly seek the tea for the spirit. Like, how are people, and namely for, the African American or the Black freedman, a Black American freedman, however it's a specific group of people that I reach. Doesn't mean that it doesn't reach a bigger range, but what my focus is a certain tribe and reaching them. But it doesn't mean that my content can't reach other people outside of that tribe. Okay, but so there's that. I'm trying to keep you sovereign, independent thinking, autonomous in your choices. Just keep you in I hate words that have been like overused, but like woke to a lot of of the manipulation, the spiritual manipulation, especially for monetary or gain or, capitalism, whatever, and control. But something that I was specifically going on was I was reflecting on the school system and how effed up it is. Oh, am I setting myself up for failure? I don't know. But it's just like, so I've been seeing a lot of people trending or, reels about, paras and instructional aides / substitutes. And so I learned this early on, the loophole of what schools do. So what they do is they hire you as a para instructional aide for areas they don't really need nobody as. Like, I'm going to just tell you right now, when they say PE para, just be ready to be getting the classes that they don't have coverage for. like it's just point blank period, because you got to think about it. PE is one of the easiest subjects. That's one of the most least necessary classrooms you need assistance in. Like, they have fun, they don't give you issue, everybody wants to skip to go to that class. So what's the help for? Like, when the kids enjoy where they are, they don't give you problems. It's when they're bored and when they don't want to be there is when they try to do stuff to get kicked out. Kids enjoy being kicked out nowadays. But that's, I digress. But my point is so this is the loopholes, because what happens is they don't necessarily pay you that like sub fee, that sub salary or whatever. The only good thing about it is that as a para instructional aide, you are like still part of the school system, and you do get like the benefits more if you need them and whatnot. And just like the pay, like if we were out for a holiday versus if you was like a straight subcontractor, you're independent. You don't get like paid for days we don't have school and da. So, and you don't get the benefits. So you're like separate, because you can go to all different schools, districts, whatever, across the board. It's up to you. So, with that being said, though, it's just noticing that ploy to like, because a lot of parents don't even realize that that's what they're getting into, that they're going to eventually end up being emergency subs. And then they're put in rooms with kids who they're not trained to be in the rooms with, like SPED, like inclusion or special needs, autism, all these things they're not certified to even work with. And come to find out, that's a human rights violation. So there's a lot of things that are just like done that should not be done. But also on top of that, it's like feeling like chopped liver on top of it. I mean, I know my worth as a parent. I know what I bring into every classroom, because I'm not just babysitting. But then that comes with a certain standard. Then now I've set the standard of myself to be this outstanding sub. So now the teachers are requesting me, but they want me to be in rooms when they're like testing and DCAs and like doing the most. And it's like, I don't get paid enough, y'all. I'm sorry. I love the kids and everything, but it's like, I'm not going to do all this extra stuff that y'all want me to do, because they're not compensating me for that. And it's just, I'm at a point where it's like, I'm not going above and beyond, because it does not matter. You're not going to get compensated for it. You're just going to get used more. Like, the strong one does not get appreciated. They just get used more. Like, people are so depleted that it's just natural to use the person who seems like they have more, because it's like in your head you feel like, oh, they have more to spare. But outside of that, what was I really going with this? But yeah, no, where I was going with this also was like, so it just comes with the idea of knowing like what I'm worth, what I bring to the table, who I am, the kind of spirit I have, the kind of connections and bonds I create with these students, and the fact that I actually like kids. Because you got a lot of people in these systems that don't even like kids, which is sad. But there's certain professions that are you need to walk in faith. You need to be a God, a God-fearing, God-loving person to be in. I'm just saying, like, it really is. Like, they're selfless to a certain extent, and there's a certain level of patience and love and compassion and empathy that you need to carry, a certain level of joy in your heart that you got to carry, a certain level of openness in your heart and mind that you got to carry to do certain jobs in this world. Some of them are not meant to be about money. Like, they just not as just like the only thing. Of course, we all need money. Don't get it twisted now. I wish I was getting paid what I'm worth. That's the whole point of this damn post. But what I'm saying is, I'm still here despite the money because I love it. I love kids so much. That's the passion I have. I can do this job without losing my mind. Everybody can't do this job without losing their minds. There's other jobs I can't do without losing my mind. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how you know what's for you. Like, if the money can't outweigh the mental strain and the stress, move it along. But I'm saying this because I get having a certification, I get having a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, these things that make you make more money. I mean, you invested more money, so it's only right that you make more money. Well, some people did. Some people pulled out a bunch of loans and they don't, and they will have no. Anyway, but the point is, I get it. You're getting back your investment, so you get paid more. But for the people who, let's say, are not fully certified, or for the people who have just an associate's degree, and I don't say that lightly because that's still something, because I'm one of those people and I'm proud of it. I know what I had to do to get it. But don't pay us less because of our qualifications or credentials, but expect the same damn duties and responsibilities as somebody with a degree. The math ain't mathing. Make it make sense. Don't ask me to do the same damn thing as somebody else and straight up tell me they're going to be making $50 an hour and you're going to be making $15. What the hell do you think I am? Boo-boo the fool? Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it, because it ain't finna be me. That is a slap in the mother... that's a slap in the face. Like, really? You're telling me, and I'm not talking about a teacher job, I'm talking about something, like, we're literally doing the exact same thing. Like, hey, I need you to file these papers, alphabetize them, and I need you to file these papers, alphabetize them. But you're going to get 50, and you're going to get 15. You got me bent all the way, twisted up like a pretzel. If you think I'm that dumb and that desperate, I will starve before you sit up here and tell me I'm going to do the same thing as somebody else. And the only reason I don't get it is because my life circumstances didn't allot me the time or money or whatever it was to get the degree that they have. You don't know what happened in my life, why I don't have that degree, why I don't have that certification yet. Everybody's journey is different. You don't get to tell me I'm not worthy of the same pay because I don't have some letters or a title behind my name when we're doing the same thing. Now, I get it. A teacher clearly has way more responsibilities than a para or a sub. Clearly, they deserve to get paid more. But don't tell me we're going to do the same thing and then you're going to pay them more. No. Ain't going to happen. Get somebody else to do it. Sorry. Not sorry. But yeah, that was some, it's like, so, like, y'all do the same shit. Until we start standing for something, we're going to fall for anything. Don't sit up here and let them play you like that. Like, we get it. We're paras, we have associate's degree, or we may not have no degree at all, but that does not determine our worth. What you bring to the table every day, your work ethic, your punctuality, your loyalty, your spirit, those things are valuable. They're priceless. They may not be physical things all the time, but those things make an impact, whether they can see it or not. Whether it's an actionable thing like physically, or it's a spiritual thing that you do and you bring a certain energy into the room, a certain happiness into the building. That is priceless. Your worthiness, your worth. You speaking to people, creating connections and camaraderie within a workplace environment. Bringing new concepts, new ideas, new operational ideas, innovative thinking. Like, those things shouldn't be overlooked, and those should go into the evaluation as well. outside of the system. Sometimes people got to branch outside of the system. And this is what I mean when I say there's independent thinkers, people who think outside of the box, people who don't just go with what the big, the theys who create the systems that fund their pockets and contain everybody else into a certain limit. Like there's a limit, like a wall, like a cap off of their potential. But then there's the ones who break through the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Surpass the box. Bust it open. Don't fit the mold. Remold it. There's those people. And so, yeah. But I'm going to end this now because I'm going to get to rambling. But as always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out.